Gilgamesh has some of the most unique debuffs in all of Rise of Kingdoms. Today, I'll be discussing everything to do with Gilgamesh. I'm going to go over skills, talents, pairs, equipment, and if you should even consider investing in him. Okay everybody, welcome to the channel if you're new here. If not, welcome back, I hope you enjoy another video. Starting off with Gilgamesh's skills. Active skill, 1500 direct damage to one target, and then reduces their health by 30% for 3 seconds. This is an absolutely amazing debuff, but there's one issue. It does not stack with Scipio Prime's health debuff because they're both active skills. So if you have a Scipio Prime in your murder ball, you're losing some value there. But otherwise, reducing enemy health is great, and I think it's a really powerful debuff that Gilgamesh will bring to your murder ball. Second skill, you gain 30% health, which is also insane, purely because health is the best stat, and not many archer commanders provide it. Like the only two that provide health to my knowledge are Edward of Woodstock and Artemisia. Then he has 20% increased damage to enemy troops that have fewer than 50% units. Now, you may be thinking, wow, that's not very good. But enemy troops with less than 50% units are already getting smashed, okay? If you're fighting an enemy troop with like 100k out of 200k troops and you've got 200k, you're already annihilating them. And then you throw this dealing even more damage to them on top of that. Gilgamesh is basically going to see a march that's slightly low, tap that march, and that march is just going to explode. So I really like that. I think it's much better than people give it credit for. Then third skill is a rally skill. Archer troops led by this commander gain 20% increased attack when attacking cities or strongholds, and then gain 5% attack every 6 seconds. This bonus lasts 10 seconds and stacks up to 6 times. Basically, you can get a maximum of 50% attack, and I think it takes about a minute and a half to fully ramp up Gilgamesh and have those stacks constantly at 6. Now, fourth skill, Enkidu's Path. This is his most unique skill, it's his major debuff. He takes 10% less damage from normal attacks, this is just in general. And then all of his attacks have a 30% chance to inflict a blood-craving debuff on targets. Now, these targets suffer when they heal, so they suffer a damage factor of 500. The debuff lasts 3 seconds and can trigger once every 5 seconds. Now, I actually really like this skill. Basically, when commanders heal, they're already healing slightly wounded units. As such, they're already, I guess, impairing their ability on the open field slightly, because if they're losing in a battle and they heal and they bring troops back and then they take more damage, they're taking more sev wounds. Gilgamesh basically says to them, F you can't even get any more troops, you're screwed, and takes those troops, that healing factor, away, and then kills their troops at the same time. It's really nice, it's a great thing, and it counters Zenobia, who's a major garrison, and I think it's a really unique debuff that no one has. Like, there are heal immunity commanders, but no one has you die when you heal, and only Gilgamesh has that. When you expertise him, it actually enhances that last skill, so now instead of 10% less normal attack, you take 15%. You still have a 30% chance to inflict blood craving. However, now they take 700 damage factor instead of 500. And then they take 15% increased skill damage on top of that. I really like that as well, purely because making them take more skill damage is always nice. Boudica does it, now Gilgamesh does it. I'm pretty sure there's a few other commanders who do it, like Tamiris. And then you're increasing the damage factor on that killing, I guess. And then you're also taking less damage. So I think expertise here is really nice. So which skills are his best? His active skill is important. You need that health debuff and you want that damage factor. It's always important for any commander. And then his second skill is also very important. You're making yourself deal more damage to weaker troops and you're gaining HP. Well, HP is in health. So I think that's also really nice. So two best skills for Gilgamesh are definitely his active skill and his second skill. And I think he's field usable at that point. He's just like a base stat machine at that point, but he's not field meta. But, however, if you do go for a field meta march and you're maybe like spending a little bit of money or you're really interested in Gilgamesh, then going for his last skill is really important. You want to take that less normal attack, so it makes you even more tanky on top of the health you already have. And then the chance to block healing basically and kill them is really good, and I think that's very nice. If you're rallying, of course, I say all the time, max everything. Don't even bother thinking, oh, I could maybe skip out on this and then I'll save myself 100 gold heads. You're doing something for your kingdom, you're being a valuable member, and you have to max the rallying to not give your kingdom more dead troops. I think the expertise is also nice, but is it worth going all in on if you're a free-to-play, not pure Archer main like myself? Probably not. Now, what talents would I recommend for Gilgamesh? First up here's his main talent tree, the one I would use personally. First of all, the reason I don't go for the whistling arrows, so Phoenix Tail arrows side, is because march speed is important for Gilgamesh. One of his downsides is he has no march speed, and that's going to play a big role in picking commanders for him, and also it's going to be a major downside when you use him. So obviously I went for march speed, and then I like this skill damage as well, especially if you're using him with like an AoE commander. Then I kind of just went all in on rage gain. Gilgamesh has a gnarly debuff, and I really do want to keep it up as much as possible. So I do like having Razor Sharp, even though it's not much rage, and I just go all the way to Feral Nature because I think it's great. I didn't go all in on Naked Rage because I've never been a fan of Naked Rage, unless you're using like a high damage AoE commander. Purely because if you're taking AoE to the face and not really dealing AoE back, then you're kind of lacking at that point. You're taking more damage for nothing. So I don't really like this, but I had extra points and I didn't really have anywhere to put them. Like I could have gone for some defense, but because I was considering Gilgamesh with a Nebuchadnezzar, I decided I would go in for Naked Rage. Then I went for Buckler Shield, which I've always said, anytime you're building a commander who is using a Conquering Tree, you go for Buckler Shield. It's such a good talent. I absolutely love the counterattack damage you don't take because you're reducing it. So I think that's amazing and definitely a recommend for almost anyone who's going in on a commander that has the Conquering Tree. Alright, so the Tamiris build here is quite simple. If you're using Gilgamesh with Tamiris, basically just don't go in for any talents that make you gain rage, because Gilgamesh isn't actually a rage engine at all unless you go for talents. So I did go in to get the Buckler Shield again, just because that's always beneficial to any commander. And then I decided I would go in and get Naked Rage at this point, purely because I had so many extra talents and I didn't really know where to put them. I mean, you could put them in the March Speed instead and put them in the Defense instead. But I just thought, I may as well put them here. But looking on hindsight, since this is a talent tree I made like maybe half a year ago, it's not very good. I would probably take these points and instead I would put them into the March Speed and maybe just like some defense or whatever. It doesn't really matter at that point. But this is still a fairly good build, and I just think just cut the Naked Rage and go for the March Speed instead. Now, pairs for Gilgamesh. There are 3 I recommend. First, we got Gilgamesh and Nebuchadnezzar. Now, I don't like investing in Nebu at this point in time, but I think he's still a good commander, and I can't say no if you're saying you're going to use Gilgamesh with Nebu. Nebu's got AoE, so if you're going for Nebu, you will want to get the Naked Rage talent. And he's also got some March Speed, which is the main thing. He has March Speed. Gilgamesh needs March Speed, Nebu delivers that, so can't complain. Nebu also has defense, which Gilgamesh doesn't actually have any, so you're going to be benefiting from that as well. And then he's got some more all damage you deal, and then he reduces the rage of the opponents as well. So he's all around a pretty decent commander still, just not the best investment currently, but he definitely goes well with Gilgamesh. Now Cyrus, someone I think is probably better than Nebu if you max him for Gilgamesh, has a nice debuff, doesn't have AoE sadly, but has Revenge AoE of like 1800 damage, which is kind of crazy. And on top of that, he also is a rage engine, so Cyrus with Gilgamesh is actually really nice, and I think it's a pairing I was considering using, but I had a Nebu, so I thought I'll just go in with the Nebu since Nebu was already 5511. Cyrus also has March Speed, which is another reason I consider Cyrus, and he's also got attack, so that's not too bad, but obviously Nebu's defense is better. And then Cyrus makes the opponent deal less skill damage, so you're even more tanky. Then the third pair that I recommend before we go on to the niche pair is Boudica. Obviously, Boudica is just a powerful commander. She pairs well with basically every archer commander, beside maybe like Edward of Woodstock. But other than that, Boudica with almost any archer commander is good, and the same applies to Gilgamesh, especially since Boudica is making them take more skill damage, so I guess that's an upside. Now, the niche pair is, if you're going for a 6th March or a 7th March and you're a big whale, then Gilgamesh Tamiris is great. I like it. 5115 Tamiris is powerful, and it's going to be benefiting all your other marches. Now, another reason I do like this pair is that if you're using Tamiris with Gilgamesh, you're not actually going to be gaining rage, and if you're whaling, I'm sure you've got a CPO in your murder ball, so your CPO's active skill should trigger first, and then, like 2 or 3 seconds after, Gilgamesh should throw his skill, since he doesn't have any rage gaining talents. and then Gilgamesh's skill shouldn't line up with Scipio Prime's skill, and then you get the health debuff. But if that's not the case, then obviously you can't really control it. However, you will be able to control Tamaris' debuffs, and they're all going to stick anyways, so I do like the Gilgamesh with Tamaris. Now, the equipment for Gilgamesh is fairly simple. You would go for a Ring of Doom and a Horn of Fury if you're not putting him with a Tamaris. If you're putting him with Tamaris, cut the Horn of Fury, and then either go for Dagger or Mura's Web. I would rather a Dagger though, since Mura's Web you want to have some march speed to be able to get away or chase down cavalry units. So really, I would say Dagger mainly. I just don't think any of these other accessories like Vengeance or Pendant of the Eternal Night or even Greatest Glory are worth it at this point for materials. The Dagger and the Web all stack, and then the Ring of Doom's powerful, and then the Horn of Fury is also way more powerful than these other 3 accessories. Coins are niche. Seth's Call, I don't even know how you get it. And then Kurak's War Drums is also a bit of a niche. If you're free to play, you go for Silent Trial, obviously, with Delane's Amulet, obviously. 2 best epic accessories. Definitely better than Gathering Speed, March Speed for Infantry, and EXP. So those 2 are the best free-to-play accessories. But if you don't have any of those, or you only have the choice of one, I would go Silent Trial plus Call of the Loyal. Call of the Loyal actually benefits Gilgamesh quite a bit since, as we've discussed, Gilgamesh is desperate for March Speed. Now, how do you get Gilgamesh sculptures? Well, you get him from the Wheel of Fortune, which I currently don't have, so I'm just going to put more than gems on the screen. So you get Gilgamesh from Wheel of Fortune, which is nice, and also you can get him from the Orotark Tavern for some reason. Don't know why, but he is there. What's my final verdict on Gilgamesh? Well, here it is. If you're free to play and you're not full pure archer main like me, he's only good if you want 3 archer marches. Otherwise, he's not worth it. There's just Henry, there's Boudica, Cyrus, YSG, all these more powerful commanders than Gilgamesh. But Gilgamesh is still a good commander in my opinion. He's not bad. If you're whaling, he's definitely worth it for a 6th or 7th march. And at that point, that's when I would say Gilgamesh is worth it. If you're rallying and you're an archer rally and you've already got Nebu, and you don't really want to wait for the new commanders, who I think are Garrison, but if you don't really want to wait for them and don't really want to see, then you could just go in for Gilgamesh so you can counter Zenobia Garrisons. Now, if you're going for the 3rd march, then yes, Gilgamesh is worth it, but other than that, he's just not, he doesn't provide that much that other commanders can't that are more powerful. Like Scipio Prime has the same debuff, plus more stats, plus he's got AoE. The only thing Gilgamesh has that's different to those is his Blood Craving debuff, and it's a bit of a niche, but it is quite powerful when you get to use it. Now, if you are looking into any of these other archer commanders, I've made guides for almost every commander now. We're on to our last 2 cycles of commanders. So if you enjoyed today's video, please do go check out one of those other videos. And also, I have a Discord server now. So if you want to be part of the community, if you want to get engaged with me and fellow members of the channel, then please do consider joining. Link is in the description and in the pinned comment. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.